China's vast empty geography, once seen as a symbol of power, is now a ticking time bomb. As the government struggles to maintain control, minority groups in these remote regions are beginning to rise. Could this be the start of an unavoidable collapse? What's fueling this unrest, and why is it happening now? In today's video, we explore the hidden cracks in China's facade and the forces that could change the nation forever. You don't want to miss this. In the 21st century, China's economic growth has been nothing short of astonishing, driven by its massive population of 1.4 billion. However, while its economy soars, China's military still lags behind the world's leading superpower, the United States. The big question now is whether China's competition with the West will propel it to global dominance. If it does, China could achieve a level of power not seen since the Ming Dynasty in the 1600s, when it was the world's preeminent power. A new world superpower? Well, a superpower is a nation that leads the world in military strength, cultural influence, political clout, and economic power. In the early 1900s, after the fall of the British Empire and other colonial powers, Germany and Japan briefly rose as superpowers but were ultimately defeated in wars. Following World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the two superpowers, with the Cold War defining global politics. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 left the U.S. as the world's dominant power, with unmatched military spending, a leading global economy, and a central role in NATO. However, by the 2020s, the U.S. faced challenges from emerging superpowers, notably China, India, and Russia. While there's debate about Russia and India's potential to reach superpower status, China's rise seems imminent. With its rapid military expansion, unrelenting economic growth, and focus on reunifying with Taiwan, China appears poised to challenge the U.S. and its allies. China is the fourth largest country in the world by land area, spanning East Central Asia with coastlines on the South China Sea, East China Sea, and Yellow Sea. Its vast territory includes fertile plains, deserts, and the world's highest mountains. China shares borders with 14 nations, leading to numerous border disputes, and exerts its influence, both culturally and militarily, on neighboring regions like Myanmar, the Himalayas, and Afghanistan. Strategically, China has access to key global trade routes to Europe and the Americas and shares a crucial border with Russia, a strong ally. This position enhances China's ability to project its power regionally and globally. Since 1979, China has experienced rapid economic growth, with its GDP skyrocketing from $178 billion to $14.72 trillion, making it the world's second largest economy after the U.S. This transformation began with the open door policy, which opened China to foreign investment and spurred decades of double-digit growth. The Chinese Communist Party plays a central role in guiding the economy, using 5-year plans to steer economic activity. While allowing capitalism to flourish, the CPC maintains control over key sectors and ensures a financial stake in foreign investments. China's low labor costs have attracted international companies, and its inexpensive goods dominate global markets. Meanwhile, China's growing middle and upper classes create a huge market for luxury items, making the country a lucrative location for businesses. Overall, China is reclaiming the global economic influence it once held, positioning itself as a formidable player on the world stage. China's massive population and the chaos following the rise of the Chinese Communist Party in 1948 led to strict population control measures. Initially, the one-child policy was introduced, lasting until 2016, followed by the two-child policy until 2021, but these policies backfired. Now China has a three-child policy, but the damage is done. The country faces a looming demographic crisis, often described as a time bomb. China now is one of the fastest-growing aging populations in the world, with 28% of its population expected to be over 60 by 2040. In comparison, India is projected to have only 13% of its population in this age group. Although the strict population controls have ended, it might be too late to reverse the effects. Projections suggest that China will struggle to support its aging population, and there may not be enough young workers to sustain the economy. Under Xi Jinping, the CPC has tightened its control over political activity and cultural expression, transforming China into a totalitarian surveillance state since 2010. This shift has led to severe crackdowns on minority groups like the Uyghurs and Tibetans, which many Western observers describe as acts of genocide. Prominent business leaders such as Jack Ma have faced imprisonment or loss of power, while the Great Firewall has severely restricted Chinese access to foreign media. The COVID-19 pandemic showcased the CPC's ability to exert total control over society, as seen in the strict lockdowns of millions in Hunan province and later in Shanghai in 2022. However, rising domestic economic pressures and increasing tensions with the U.S. and its allies raise questions about the sustainability of Xi's grip on power. China's tight control over cultural expression has limited its ability to export cultural soft power. Instead, it imports culture, particularly from countries like Japan, South Korea, and the U.S., albeit often through illegal means such as VPNs or with heavy censorship. For example, while NBA basketball is popular in China, any anti-China statements by players or owners are censored, and Hollywood movies must remove references to sensitive topics like Taiwan. China's vast natural resources, especially in the northwestern province of Xinjiang, are a key reason for its strict control over regions where there have been historical movements for independence. The CPC cannot afford to lose these resources. China is also a major producer and exporter of critical metals like aluminum, gold, iron, and rare earths, largely due to its access to reserves in Africa, where it has secured mineral rights in many countries. Additionally, China has built an oil pipeline to Kazakhstan and has a growing alliance with resource-rich Russia, further enhancing its access to vital materials. The final and arguably most critical aspect of China's emerging superpower status is its military might. With the world's largest army of 2.8 million active troops and the second largest military budget at $237 billion, China's military is rapidly expanding. Its nuclear arsenal, as well as its fleet of tanks, warships, planes, and aircraft carriers are all growing, solidifying its position as a formidable global power. China's military power plays a central role in its strategy to secure its borders and assert its influence globally. Recently, China has been involved in a tense standoff with India in the Himalayas, leading to several bloody clashes. These conflicts are part of China's broader military goals, securing its territorial claims, particularly in disputed land and sea areas, retaking Taiwan, viewed by Beijing as a breakaway province, and asserting control over the South China Sea. As China expands its military reach, it has also begun to gain access to Pacific Island nations and become increasingly confrontational with not just the United States, but also rearming countries like Japan, the UK, and Australia. The rise of a massive middle class from just 39 million in 2000 to 700 million in 2020 has dramatically increased China's consumption of global resources. While some of this growth is due to changes in how the CPC measures poverty, it is undeniable that China now boasts a middle class comparable in size to that of the United States. Water security is another pressing issue. For example, in Beijing alone, demand for water exceeded supply by 70% as far back as 2012. Control of Tibet, a region that is the source of key rivers like the Yangtze, is crucial to China's water security. The idea of China's inevitable rise to superpower status, which seemed certain in the 2010s, is now facing serious challenges. The emerging new Cold War between Russia and China on one side and the United States and its allies on the other threatens global stability. Neither side appears willing to back down, and the possibility of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now openly discussed by high-level officials. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the risks of global dependence on China as it disrupted supply chains and highlighted the dangers of relying too heavily on a single country for essential goods. So what are your views on this? Let us know in the comments section below, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more.